All right, guys. Spurs blow out the Thunder. They locked them up. They locked up SGA. Also, there's a sponsor in this video. Thunder threes didn't go in. Wemby found some things on offense. Dylan Harper could be back. I got to go right to this defense on SGA. So first off, it feels like every time Shea is just trying to take somebody on an ISO in single coverage, Castle, Harper, Keldon, it felt like for like a possession or two in this one. Either the defense on him is just great and he's missing a fadeaway, long two, a paint, fadeaway, whatever, or even a couple of the ones he did make. I mean, he did have that one on Wemby on the switch that was really good, but even when he does make some of these, they're really, really well contested, right? But then we get to the screen actions, which I think are also just pretty wild what the Spurs are pulling off here. And it's not just Wemby. Like in this specific game, there were some of these with Cornet where basically Wemby or Cornet are, let's say, at the level, high drop, whatever term you want to use here with SGA. And they are just high enough to where he doesn't have a runway to the rim. And then Castle is doing a hell of a job of just getting around the screens where it felt like, especially like to open up the second half and various parts of the first half too, they're having iHeart set these super high screens for SGA to try to get him some breathing room. And they're just Castle's doing a hell of a job of just sticking with him around these screens. Then either getting just really, really good contests off against, these pull-ups again, because with the centers, I mean, more so Wemby, but, Cornet again was good in this one. It's just tough to get something down there. Or like Cornet might get there high enough to where SGA is throwing it to iHeart on the roll, but then Cornet gets back to iHeart anyway. Or a couple times where iHeart like slipped the screen, but then Wemby just blew the play up because that's what he does. So he's still contesting iHeart at the rim, and SGA also didn't feel comfortable with driving on him as Castle's somewhere on him as well, on his hip, on the screen actions, whatever it might be. And so for for Game 7, the question's going to be like, what specific play type do you find for SGA? I will say they did have some success in this one, at least for a couple plays, on giving him like some empty side DHOs where he starts from the corner. I want to say he made one of his shots on Harper from that, but for the most part, I mean, SGA was not good today, and the Spurs just really, really locked him up, and they just locked up the whole team. I mean, the threes did not go. Spurs went nuts from three today, and the energy defensively was just better. Like, I mean, Wemby in the last game had a few plays where, before we get back to it, this video is sponsored by SeatGeek. Man, I would love to be in New York, not even necessarily at the game, but just in New York at a bar, around the arena, I don't know, for one of these finals games, because the energy has just got to be unbelievable. And if I was going to go to an NBA Finals game, whether it's New York or Oklahoma City or San Antonio, I'm recording this before Game 6, then I would use SeatGeek as I have before, and it's always been good. With over 28 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. There are over 70,000 events listed on SeatGeek. Sporting events, concerts, festivals, a bunch of things, and you can use my code FunkyDiabetic10 for 10% off your next order at SeatGeek. SeatGeek rates deals on a scale of 1 to 10, so you know you're getting a good deal. Look for the green dots. Green means good, red means bad. Every ticket is backed by their buyer guarantee. Make sure to click the link in the description to download the app and have the code automatically added to your account. One more time, FunkyDiabetic10, 10% off, SeatGeek. It's crazy how fast the year goes, man. Like, it was just really cold, and now we're about to be in June. Even he looked a little slower than he normally does protecting the rim or just covering a lot of ground. Like in this one, I mean, there was a possession in that second quarter where he switched, which he doesn't do like that often. I mean, he had the switch on SGA I mentioned, but he switched on one play from like Chet to McCain to, I think, Caruso, back to McCain, and then blew up one of those plays, or he like closes out to J. Will, and then he also deflects a pass that J. Will tries to make to J-Dub right after. It's like a DHO or something. Covered a whole lot of ground, was exactly where he needed to be on Shea screen actions. Also some stretches there where he was playing off of Lou Dort, and it just felt like OKC had a tough time with that, to where Kaysen had to come in, and Kaysen did make threes in this one. And, I mean, this has just been such a thing for this whole series. OKC's role player three-point shooting, especially Caruso, and the nature of a Game 7, which I understand. Sometimes the home team just wins Game 7 in a blowout. I get that. Like, that's on the table. But, I mean, if Caruso goes 1 for 5 from 3 or, like, 4 for 5 from 3, like, that really could be the difference. Like, how often is it just Wemby daring him on something? And then you still have to account for just the random Vassell plays or whatever, of like getting back in transition to contest SGA or whatever. Just a great defensive game of activity and pressure and a bunch of things from the Spurs. On the other side of things, well, one counter to everything that happened with Wemby in the last one is go 4 for 9 from 3. That always helps. I think the first 2 plays of the game, they ran like some empty side stuff with Wemby and Castle. One was a Champagny 3, one was a Wemby pick and pop against iHeart. He had like a few threes against iHeart where it was just, I've got a little sliver of daylight, I'm going to go for it. And look, the convos around Wemby's ability to score inside when he has a bigger defender on him and a team is collapsing in the paint. Well, it's not as big of a deal when he makes a whole bunch of jumpers. I mean, he had like a mid-range or two on J. Will and iHeart, I want to say. He had one aggressive drive on Chet, like with a little between the legs dribble into a spin. Another empty side screen action with Castle where he slipped it and got that lob where iHeart fouled him. So you find ways to not have him just in the middle of the floor with not really a plan on certain plays. And even then, like, he'll still convert some of them. Like a couple of those jumpers were basically that, not the threes, but the mid-range. And so for OKC's sake, what they're going to hope for is when those screens happen, like, we're going to send an extra guy to tag Wemby on the rolls, and then we don't get burned on skip passes. That was a big theme in the last one. Like, there were opportunities for Wemby to get the ball in a roll sometimes, but it was like just the smallest window. But again, they found the empty side stuff in this one. As far as Dylan Harper, he had at least one of those empty side actions with Wemby, and this one he like froze iHeart on a hezzy dribble and then got a score at the rim on him. Of course, he was off in transition many times as well. If Dylan Harper is going to be able to really cook and not just be like another ball handler who can play defense for this Game 7, obviously that's massive and probably necessary. Of course, there's no telling exactly how much the injury affected him the past few games, but there's that. J-Dub, I mean, he was out there for a little bit. I honestly didn't even consider seeing J-Dub. If not in this series again, then at least definitely not in this game. De'Aaron Fox, I don't know, man. I gotta assume he's still dealing with the ankle in some way. But yeah, man, here we go. A Game 7, a Saturday night Game 7 for the most anticipated playoff series we've had in I don't know how long. Hopefully it's an awesome game. There's probably going to be some crazy ref talk after it. I mean, we've had 2 different games of this series with just an obscene amount of free throw attempts. And, well, I picked the Spurs to win the series, so I'm going to go with them in Game 7. And yeah, I mean, it's just going to be every storyline of this series, just what ends up happening in the last game. Role player 3-point shooting, certain screen actions or DHO actions or whatever to get Wemby or SGA just a bit of an easier look, because when they are like in the middle of the floor and either one of these defenses are able to just lock in on them, that's when it's at times been more of a grind. The Cornet minutes, I mean, the Spurs won them today. Also, Wemby's minutes. I mean, Wemby played 49 minutes in Game 1. Since then, he hasn't touched 40 minutes. Now, some of these games have been blowouts, to be fair. Also, Chet, just anything involving Chet. Does he make threes? Does he, like he did in the beginning of the last game, just have a few of those possessions on Champagny or Vassell in 1v1s just to not let it be so easy for the Spurs to put whoever they want on him? Also, should be said, Stephon Castle has really cleaned up the turnovers since after Game 2. Even with Fox's missed shots, it does take pressure off of Castle, of course. But weird things can just happen in a Game 7. I mean, if we have a fourth quarter stretch where it's just possession after possession of Stephon Castle dribbling the ball for the majority of a Spurs possession, I don't know, there's a lot on the table. Anyway, Game 7 Saturday, I'll see you guys on the other side.